Oh, yeah. All right, y'all. Hey, what's up, brothers and sisters? This is the Reluctant Nabi back again. All right. Let's see what I want. This is what I want up here. Okay. So what's going on, brothers and sisters? All right. Make sure I'm kind of on track.
With so many patterns, colors, and sizes to choose from, you'll want a shag rug in every room. Pile height measures thickness and comfort. Higher pile shags are perfect for bedrooms. Shags also reduce noise, making your home calmer. Shop thousands of shag rugs.
Okay, so I got a lot of things going on here. All right. So, okay, real quick. We'll do this again. All right. What I want to do right now is within the next 706, within the next 3 minutes, if you want a t-shirt and you haven't already sent me your address from yesterday, and don't forget, when you go over to the email, put address in the, man, you know what? I don't even know what that box is called. In the subject box, right? So if you want a t-shirt, put address in the subject box and send me your address right now. Into the Reluctant Nabi, to the Refuge Temple Nabi. Refuge Temple Nabi for the Reluctant Nabi Afro Men t-shirt. All right. So that's what we working with. Okay, let me make sure I didn't. Okay. I'm just jacking some stuff up, y'all. All right, some of the stuff I just wanted to keep up so I can stay abreast of the situation. All right, so do that real quick. As we get started with this, right? So real quick, let me greet everybody that's up here already, even though I can't really see you because I'm going over here to check this email. But let me greet everybody. Hovorten Hardugu Dog, Ola Oi to the Bang. Vasas Los Bonjour mes amis. Kedu Bawani Konnichiwa. Nihao Nihao Ma. Sani Bonani. Jumbo Habarigani. Assalamu alaikum and shalom. All right. Look like I'm gonna have some trouble over here. All right, I'll check these emails out later. I ain't even going to mess with it. I'm doing good right now. Okay. So, dang, now I'm lost. There we go. So, what's up, Daniel Porter, Texas Marine? What's up, Frankie? All right. Uh, Michael Duncan. All right. So on this one, as we discuss these things, we talking about young Jeezy for Sheezy Maneezy. All right. This outrage from these BTN is, and I'm gonna keep putting the history up. Okay, I am going to keep on putting the history up. Why would I do that? Because I don't care. Now, I'm gonna give y'all a number. Hey, what's up, Antonio Johnson? If you would like to call in, and the number is going to be here. All right, so this is the number. Dang. All right, there's the number right there. For those that want to call in. All right. Think I got it going good. Now, if you decide you want to call in and add something to the conversation, you have to speak in your phone. All right. I checked out my system and it works well when you speak into the phone. All right. So, to reiterate, I need you to speak in, that's right, you got it, the phone. All right. So, as we get into this, all right. As we get into this, all right, time's up. All right, as we get into this, all right. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna be rolling to Houston and drop off some shirts, right? But as we get into this, right, we are going to delve into the young Jeeze outrage. All right, we are going to get into the young Jeeze outrage, and the outrage that these people are having behind this is downright ridiculous. All right. And it is ridiculous for a particular reason. I want to educate the brothers so that one of the main lies that the BFEMs try to report is that the men have been the ones in history that have been going after the so-called Caucasian women. When we know for sure that is an out and outright bold-faced lie. Now, here's the problem. There was a point we did not know that for sure. Because we didn't know any better. When you're raised in a single family household and your teacher is the main one that's been doing the infractions, they're not going to want you to learn about all the wickedness they've been doing. All right. And so basically, a lot of stuff for us gets covered up. All right. A lot of the stuff gets covered up. And if we don't, if we don't, we're talking about manumissions, right? If we don't wake up, oh wow, and I made a mistake about something. I made a mistake. I'll tell you what that mistake was in a minute. All right. The mistake was I'm a research it real quick, right? The mistake was that we're talking about manumissions, right? Okay, let's see. Oh Lord, I got a lot of stuff. They might not like this video. All right. All right, we're going to have to roll through that one. So we're going to save that one. Um, all right, all these are PDFs that I'm looking at, right? And the reason why I'm pulling this up is that we got Daughters of the Trade, we got Shades of Gray, right? And in all of this research that's coming out, and this is hard to find. All right, we're looking at something called manumissions. All right, so we're looking at something called manumissions, right? And what manumissions is the during slavery, all right, during slavery, the women that were sleeping with the slave masters ended up with his slaves for a couple of reasons, right? Um, All right. What you have is called manumissions. And I want to get this right because I used to be able to pull this up with ease. And now when you go on Google, a lot of the stuff seems to be hidden, right? And I stopped using Google to get this information and start using other search engines. All right. So, okay, so let's get with this. Okay, here we go. I think I got what I need, right? All right, so that's Jamaica. So this stuff was happening in Jamaica too. All right, so what I'm looking at is manumissions, right? And I'm looking up. Okay, here we go, Professor. So I'm looking up a lot of stuff that is kind of hard to find. Now, and the reason why this is important is that I want to explain to you what's going on with young Jeeze. All right. And remember, I said that everything that we discuss here is a symbiotic relationship. All right. Nothing is going on in a vacuum. All right. And so basically, when I put up documentation, right, when I put up the documentation that I used to be able to find, Google and everybody is hiding it. All right. And so when you now put in the data, the true data, hold on, let me see. Let me do it this way. All right, I'm going to just put up the article like this. All right, so I thought this was going to be much easier to find, right? But it's not. Because in the United States, when we're talking about what's really going on, and we're talking about manumissions, right? So manumissions, what it is the black women that were sleeping with the slave masters from 18 or let's say to 1880. So some people have from 17. So let me read it. All right. And then from in 1820, free black women represented 68% of the head of household and 70% of the slave holdings heads of colored household. All right. The large percentage of black women, so it was 70% of black women that owned slaves. The large percentage of black women slave owner is explained by the combined effects of manumission, being freed by their white masters for whom they fathered children. There it is. All right, so they were freed by their white master from whom they fathered children. Inheritance received, receiving slaves from their white master, relatives, and even husbands who had higher mortality rate than women. And personal industry once they were free, buying slaves themselves. So those are the three ways that black women bought ended up with slaves, right? Now, let me paste. I might have to just copy and paste this for y'all. All right. So let me see this. Let me see if I can copy and paste this. So that's 500 and stuff on. So understand what manumissions is. So 69. Okay, let's see. We'll go here. Cut. Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is the breakdown. Okay, so what does that have to do with young Jeezy? My knees for Sheezy. Well, we're getting there. But I have to start at the beginning to where you become aware of the mentality that has been taught to the BFM in the United States over this period of time. Okay? So you got manumissions and you got all the rest of this stuff, right? So it is safe to say that at one point the BFM owned us. And not just slightly, but in large numbers. All right. And so this is kind of the problem that we're running into now. Because if somebody used to own you, then they feel some kind of way that they are entitled to rule over you and, kind of like, you need to do what we tell you to do. All right, and understand this. It goes on to say that black women were the majority of slaves emancipated by white slave owning men with whom they had relations. All right. And this article right here was produced by University of Wisconsin. All right. So this article was produced by the University of um, Wisconsin. So, so if you want the scholarly article, so look up ammunitions posted by the scholarly article by the University of Wisconsin. All right, University of Wisconsin. All right, so in order to break down what's really going on, all right, I wanted to give y'all a little bit of history. And we're going to keep on giving this history because no one is teaching it. Okay, so let me greet everybody. What's up, Daniel Porter? What's up, Texas Marine Super 5? Frankie, what's going on? Michael Duncan, Tex, Antonio Johnson. What's going on? Terminator 2800. Lloyd Peter. All right, what's going on? Um, hey, David Bowman. Hold on for a second. All right. Let's see what else I got in here. All right. So that's and what's up, Adonis War Child? Okay. So now, in order to understand what has been going on, you have to understand where did this mentality of superiority that the B film thinks that she has over the Afro male, even though we're physically stronger and all the rest of this. Understand this, right? Now I want y'all to understand something else. Oh, real quick, don't forget to do the thumbs up to like the videos, because you know we always got some people that come to thumbs it down, right? So basically, so this is what we got going on. But here's the thing. When we look at a particular letter, get it in a minute. All right, as I explain some stuff to you. All right. I want to show you something else too. And this is the very thing that is backfiring. Okay? This is the very thing that is backfiring on basically the Anglo men in the United States right now. Because there's a solidarity thing and with women, and sometimes not just a solidarity thing, right? Now you got the B film who's been privileged, even though the Beckys think that, wait a minute, this man kept giving these women property that should have gone to me, treated me. No, I keep telling y'all that during the time of the antebellum, I ain't saying that hey, what's up, busy Mike? During the time of the antebellum, I'm saying that the free BFM had more privilege than the married Caucasian woman. Many Caucasian women didn't get no property. Oh yeah, they all had their servants too, and they weren't nice. Oh, and they were trying to get run through by the dudes, right? Understanding that if any children or came from that relationship, those children were going to be destroyed. All right. So, in order to get to where we are, and why these women would be in an uproar over somebody else, where somebody else wants to go. What's up, Spirit of Justice? You got to understand the history as to what's going on. And I will teach it. I will show it. Ah, boa noite. Boa noite, meu amigo. All right. Now, I will show it and I will teach it. Because somebody has to do it. And the reason why somebody has to do it, I kept telling people that the problem in our community is we're depending on schools that by their very nature was saying to themselves, we will not teach these children the truth. We do not want to teach these children the truth. Why? Because teaching these children the truth is going to be against our policies. All right. We got to understand what has been going on in this country. Now, in all types of leadership, I was looking at Confucianism, Taoism, and Buddhism when it comes to martial arts. Right? And the reason why governments love Confucianism so much is that Confucianism says that there must be order. There must be some kind of order. All right? I want y'all to understand that. That's the thing. There must be order, ranking, this, that, and the other. And basically, if you want to control a people, you need order to do that. And since the guy at the top can't be everywhere, he needs representatives. And if you can get the representative to be in a home next to the strong man, what does scripture say? If you want to destroy the home, you bind the strong man first. And the reason why we're so shocked about this is because the tool that they used to bind the strong man was the person that the strong man would least expect. The wife. The BTN BFM wife, the BTN BFM mother, the BA Terrence Collins. Look at that. They got a dude to go to jail for them. What's up, Adonis? They got a dude to go to jail for them. All right, for you new guys, let me just say, don't forget the thumbs up. All right, don't forget the thumbs up while you're in here. And to you new guys, if you go up and read in yellow, you'll have the whole breakdown of manumissions. When they say black people own slaves, they didn't want to tell you that it was the BFM and the mulatto children. All right, so there it is. University of Wisconsin, yes. The scholarly article posted by the University of Wisconsin. All right, I don't know why that is, Young Boy 24, but what's going on? Okay, and some of the times I'm leaning in and out because I'm looking for things. to post up, and because you know that I like to give references to what I am talking about, right? All right. So the thing that I am saying now is be careful, because the BFM has never had the back of the Afro man. Now, I'm going to tell you something else about what was going on. The people that ended up coming over here and being put on the slave ships were the most spiritual men, the strongest men, the wisest men, and the smartest men. They were your intellectuals. This is why Africa fell apart as a result of slavery. All the builders they sold to the Caucasians into slavery for guns, alcohol, or whatever. That's why this nation was able to be built up, because they had the builders. All right. So everybody understood the strength of the Afro man, and they recognized that a dude that did not want to be enslaved wasn't going to be enslaved. All right. He will fight you tooth and nail. So what do? What do you do with a person that's going to fight you tooth and nail? Well, you just say, well, let's get somebody that is close to him to control him. And this generation that we're fighting, that's adults, let's not worry about them. Let's just cut our losses with them. Because if we allow the BTN to control and train the children, she will do the job for us that we want done in America. This was their thought process. We'll get it in a minute. Now, again, you got to understand the hypocrisy, and you got to understand that the reprobate mentality that's going on here. All right. You also have to understand that a lot of people are trying to hide the true history of the Afro people in order to protect their cash cow, which is the BFM. "50 years ago today," let's break this down. Loving versus Virginia made interracial marriage legal in the U.S. Here's how they got there. All right. They were childhood sweethearts when he was 17 and she was 11. Understand this. The childhood sweethearts, he was 17, she was 11. This gets into the marriage ceremony, the marriage license. All right. Again, some of y'all that are new to my channel, and my channel, one of y'all asked, why don't more people watch my channel? Because I put out the facts. But I put out the facts that nobody wants to hear. Because my agenda is the truth, even about us, right? So a lot of these dudes that say they put out the facts, this is the third rail they are afraid to touch. But remember, I am a spiritual person. So because I believe the Most High orders my steps, I don't care what anybody thinks about me, this, that, and the other. I kind of understand that if I am on this path, I am going to be solitary. Because the BFM, the BAW in America, the BAW is not going to want to hear the truth about themselves. All right. While at the same time, I'm in a conversation with a woman And I told you about her, the one that wanted me to get up and go get some trees, that herb out of the, and I was like, oh, you one of them, right? Talking to me, oh, I'm changing for you, this, that, and the other. I don't want to do that anymore, this, that, and the other, right? So basically, to her face, the woman in Brazil, I can have that conversation. To the BFM, they would tell me they ain't changing nothing. All right, they ain't changing nothing. Right now, I'm gonna show y'all something real quick. Y'all ain't gonna be able to understand this because I'm talking in Portuguese, right? So this is a long, drawn out conversation. So I'm letting her have it, and the only thing she got to say is "tá bom, tá bom, tá bom." Okay. The only thing she has to say is "tá bom, tá bom, tá bom," because I'm not having it there, and I'm not having it here. Right? And so basically, at least there, if you let people know if you let the women know where you stand, they could take it or leave it. They won't argue, right? Now, when I go back, there might be a little more peace. All right. And so these were the miscegenation laws, right? And so as they go there, they get into the 1950s with the miscegenation laws. All right. Now, people began fighting laws against interracial marriages in court in the 19th century, right? Now, if you look at this, this was always the Caucasian man to the black woman. The Afro man could not look at a Caucasian woman. Remember Emmett Till, right? Can't whistle, can't do nothing, right? Now, we want to get up here to the Cable Act of 1922. Stated that women could maintain their citizenship if they married non-citizen men who were eligible for citizenship, which means U.S. women who married Asian men who were not permitted to become U.S. citizens at the time lost their citizenship. You understand this? They were straight up trying to keep Caucasian men with Caucasian women. That if a Caucasian woman married a Chinese man, she would lose her citizenship. Several senators attempted to pass constitutional amendments to ban interracial marriage completely. These are all Democratic senators, by the way. All right. Let's go up to here. I missed something. 1950, 1962, 1964. 20th century. Let's see. Okay, in another report, it shows that to combat this in 1920 to 1924, North Carolina, doing South Carolina a favor, came up with the marriage license, which took effect in 1924. So this is what makes this Cable Act of 1922 kind of significant. All right. So Vermont was passing laws saying interracial marriages were not void. And again, the only people that this was for was Caucasian men and the so-called black woman. All right. I'm looking to see if they have the 1920 Marriage Act, marriage thing. Okay, not in this article. So as they were talking about this, if you go and look up, type in Reluctanabi and type in marriage, I will have the laws there showing, or the history there showing that marriage, the marriage license was created in 1924 to keep people separated, to keep Afro people and Caucasian people separated. What's up, Zachariah Williams? What's up, Renzo? What's up, your guy? Okay, so this is why all this stuff was going on, right? So now, when you go up here and look at this, so this is the beginning, the inherent, right? When you go look at what I put, Reluctanabi Neo, read all the stuff in yellow, straight down. So now you understand this, that since slavery, all right, since slavery, we were having issues. Now let me go to something else. What I want? Adobe Acrobat. Okay, I'm trying to find. Let's just go here again. Okay, I'm going to point this out real quick. All right, I wanted to point this out real quick because this is another problem with the so-called Afro people. You got a woman that's nowhere, ain't nothing about her descendant of slaves or Afro. All right, and she's married to a Caucasian man, and that's good enough for the BFM to accept. And a lot of the simps, and they're going to vote for her because she's one of us, and she's nowhere near one of us. Like Obama wasn't, but he was closer. At least he was African. This woman ain't even that. Okay? So I want y'all to understand this, right? If you want a copy of this letter, Book of Jasher and the Book of Enoch, I have this in PDF form. All right? So y'all know who this guy is, so I'm not going to mention it. Just he says, let me go here. It says, gentlemen, you know your problems, what your problems are. I do not need to elaborate. I am not here to enumerate you on your problems. I am here to introduce a method of solving them. In my bag here, I have a foolproof method for controlling your Afro slaves. I guarantee you, every one of you, that if installed correctly, will control the slave for at least 300 years. That's the 2012. All right. My method is simple. Any member of your family or your overseers can use it. I have outlined a number of differences among the slaves and make the difference bigger. I use fear, distrust, and envy for control. Remember, I kept saying that the BAW envies the Afro man simply for being a strong man. That she can't stand the smart man and will take any method she can to beat him down, to emasculate him. Remember, we use the term emasculate a lot, right? So this is it. These methods have worked on my modest plantation in the West Indies. It will work throughout the South. All right, and we notice how they use the colors and young against the old and the build up distrust, right? Here is the problem. All right, and he states this, that the men are going to fight for their freedom. Always will. Okay. So he took his idea from horses and say, how you break the people is by way of the children through the mother. All right. Now, none of the principles he said alone would work, right? Now, here's the problem. All the principles must be employed for good or for orderly good of the nation, according to both a wild horse and the nature of a Afro man is danger, even if Kaffir, for they have the tendency to seek their customary freedom. So the men always wanted to be free, and doing so might off you in your sleep. You cannot rest, and this is the problem they had. They had to sleep with their eye open. They sleep while you're awake, and they are awake while you're asleep. They are dangerous near the family house, and it requires too much labor to watch them away from the house. Above all, you cannot get them to work in this natural state. All right, and so this is what they did. If you, as he said, break, but if you make a deal with the female mother, she will ruin the offspring in its early years of development. And when the offspring is old enough to work, she will deliver it up to you, for her normal female protective tendencies will have been lost in the original process. I keep telling you, these women don't protect nothing. All right. So basically, I don't say break, but they made a deal with the woman. All right. Take a series of tests, and she will submit to your desires willingly. All right. This is what they say. For fear of the young male's life, she will physically train him to be mentally weak and dependent, but physically strong. Because she has become psychologically independent. She will train her female children to be psychologically independent. So flip it. Y'all got that? They flipped it. They trained the women. They made a deal with the women. They tell the women that they are independent. They tell the women that they are the backbone of the community. They tell the women, you don't need no man. right? The system tells them this, right? And so then what ends up happening is they like, yeah, I don't need no man. Y'all ain't nothing. All the good men are in jail. And to prove that point, they go to the jails and marry the inmates. They have babies from those that are inmates in prison. I want y'all to understand this. All right? And they say, well, they have nothing to worry about. These women think that they have nothing to worry about because they think that they got the male so mentally weak that no matter what they do, he's going to keep running back to her. Except it's not working out that way. A couple things happened. The Civil War. And during the Civil War, half the Caucasian people in the nation had a problem with chattel slavery and how it made them look. All right? The other thing is, and the other thing you don't know and they don't teach you is the Gullah Wars. Remember, most people in the United States that are Afro-melanated were here before anybody else. Then the red man or the Mongolian man came down. We mixed in with them. So if only 350,000 slaves were brought here, how did you get all these so-called black people here? Well, we were already here, but only we were called Indians at the time. See, the Indians were black people. No, we weren't Mongolian. We weren't the red man. We were the Africans were the first people to come here, establish a culture and stuff. The red man came down, the Mongolian. They established a culture. Some of ours mixed, some of it we had confrontation, right? When the Caucasian people got here, a bunch of Afro people were already here. And they brought some more with them. And they decided to try to enslave everybody here. The red man and the so-called black man. Except the red man was dying off from their diseases. All right. So here's the thing. And this is the thing that started to happen. Right? That many Afro men, the strong Afro men, will always raise up, no matter how bad you get the woman to do stuff to them to make sure she controls them. You can never control everybody, and they understood this. And so that's why they said, well, we'll get most of the population. But the reason why I showed you that is that in this deal, and understand, this was a deal. Now, in the letter, they will say that we use force and stuff like that. But no, a lot of this was voluntary. And it became more voluntary once the BFM understood that they might get slaves to run and be boss over themselves. All right? So we have been betrayed from the beginning. But we weren't the only ones being betrayed. The Caucasian woman was looking at all of this. At the point where she's told, because of her skin color, she's superior, but she couldn't help but feeling that she was feeling inferior to the BFM. Because they was putting that African whatever on the Caucasian man. All right. So this is where you get into manumissions. So now that I got y'all there, let's get to young Jeeze. For she's in my kneesy. All right. If you got weak stomach, you might want to leave, because this is not going to be easy. It might be a little greasy. All right, so let this slide down. So let's put all this together. One, you had these B films that helped start the trade. All right. Okay, can you hear me now? I moved away from my mic. Okay, so you have these B films that help start the trade. Then, once everybody got over here, keep in mind that 2/3 of the slaves that were brought over here, both to the United States, to South America, and all along the passage, were males. All right. Many of the women were the wives and concubines of the men on the boat. Many of them, this is why you see rendition that they put the women down there, because everybody keep trying to hide the fact that some women were put down there. Oh, okay, yeah. Thanks. Thanks, Renzo. Some women were captive, kidnapped. Some women were willing participants. All right. We don't know which is which, but what we do know that now we understand that you don't give plantations and slaves to somebody that you just don't like. All right. The B femme and the Caucasian men were in love. They were putting something on them. All right. And so the conditions, as I point out in one of the live stuff, and look at all my videos when I did on what actually happened during the slave trade and what actually happened to us males as a part of slavery, and some females. All right. Some of the females, especially young ones, was on these farms along with castrated boys. All right. They had hey, thanks, Terminator. They had a term that they used for also weakening the strong men called buck breaking. BUCK breaking. Look that up. All right. When you go and ask the average Afro child in the United States, they're not going to know anything. Why? Why don't we really study this? Is because if we studied this, we would know, as far as we are, who our main adversary and culprit is. Because we were always able to persevere regardless of the system. Understanding that we're not going to get that glass ceiling thing, but for us, we didn't need it. All right, we didn't need the glass ceiling. We didn't need all this other stuff. All right, all we wanted was to live a pretty good life, live happy. You know what I mean? We want to work, we want to build our thing, and then we want to enjoy what we build. You see what I'm saying? We want to enjoy what we build. And then we started to realize that the B film is not going to ever let us enjoy nothing. Hey, what's up, John Jay? And how we knew that is not by anything they said. We just looked at what's been going on in our lives. All right, you just can't keep treating me like crap and then think that I'm going to wake up the next day and think, oh, this isn't crap, even though it is. It's somehow different today. No, we're going to want to leave that alone. And then there is one other very, very, very significant problem. All right. Remember, everything is all about envy, right? All about envy. So this is our choice right here. This is what the so-called woman is looking like and doing. They harder than most dudes, you know, right? And so if you come into any kind of means or anything, and you're looking at this and you're understanding that at no point in your life did this woman ever follow your direction, right? You don't know why, right? You just don't know what's wrong with these women. You don't know. You like, what did I do to these women that they despise me so? And you keep thinking, what did I do that they despise me like that? I ain't did nothing to them. All right? And you didn't have to do anything. If you are an intelligent Afro man, all you had to do was be you. Hey, what's up, Jamal? Right? And so a lot of brothers was like, I'd rather be alone. Uh-oh, but something else happened. Just like the Caucasian men during chattel slavery was messing around, oh, you better believe the Caucasian woman was looking at the bucks and stuff like that. All right. And she was like, if he can do it, I can do it too. The only problem is she better not have no baby. She had a baby, that slave and that baby was dying. All right. So when we say that slavery, the so-called black people that owned slaves, there were. But keep that in mind that they were using the one drop rule, right? If you take away the one drop rule and use biblical rules of what it is to be an Afro person, then no Afro person owned chattel slaves in the United States. The chattel slaves was owned by the offspring of the Caucasian man and the BAW, right? Which made them mulattoes, and the BAW, which made them the women. So when they try to say, oh yeah, black people own slaves like that, they're trying to imply that men owned them, but no. Through manumissions and inheriting and outright buying, because as you saw in the article, they freed. Hold on, what is the percentage of? All right, so 75% of all adult manumissions were females. And 33% of all reported colonial manumissions were mulatto children. Black women were the majority of slaves emancipated by white slave owning men with whom they had relations. All right. Y'all see that, right? All right. So when you look at this, we're talking from 1820. Free facts. So for those of you that's new, all you got to do is scroll up to, you see the REFUGETEMPLENABI Neo. Scroll to the top and start. Yeah, right under David Bowman. But yes, scroll up till you see it outlined in yellow, right? And you can read down. All right. And so if you get the yellow thing under Michael Duncan's name, it says the large percentage of black women slaveholders is explained by the combined effects of manumission, being free by their white masters for whom they fathered children. See this? See what I'm saying? Inheritance, receiving slaves from their white masters, relatives, and even husbands who had higher mortality rates than women. I want to read this again. The other way the black women received slaves was inheritance from the master's relatives and even husbands who had a higher mortality rate than women. So if the Caucasian man could not marry a slave black woman, then who would? Oh, they were the husband to the Caucasian woman, which whom he could not pass land or property to. He could pass down money to take care of the Caucasian woman, but land and property went to the black woman that he produced children with. I want y'all to understand that. Because to the Caucasian man's credit, his seed is his seed. And he'll leave an inheritance to his seed. And he recognized that if he puts a seed in a BAW, when that seed come out, he for the purposes of the census, he'll say one drop. But he knows that that child is Caucasian because the child is who the father is. All right. So now when you look at it, now these options that we have for women don't look that great. We got these who are still envious because they're not us, the Afro male. They want to be the Mother Earth, the goddess, and the man. And I don't know where that comes from, except to say that this is part of that reprobate stuff from out of their relationship with Azazel. And y'all see the stuff that I put up about that. All right. So now you have young Jeeze living easy. And these B-films feeling kind of greasy because he went and got this woman right here. Right? Because he wanted feminine. They like, oh, she act worse than just as bad as us. Now, why? See, that's the thing. They always deflect. They never say, what is wrong with us? They always say, oh, well, they do it too. They always, well, they do it too. Okay, yeah, we treated you like crap, but the other people will do it too. All right. At no point did they ever think, you know what? This dude is a good dude and he needs somebody to support the stuff that he's trying to do. So I'm going to be that support for. No, they don't say that. They'll complain about what you're doing. They'll tell you what you need to do and won't help you. All right. And then they will turn around and say, oh, why he with that woman? Why he leaving? Why he going overseas? Why he doing that? Why he doing that? I meant to say, why he doing this? Why he's doing that? Right? So now you understand the breakdown. You got men waking up and understanding. Some of them, I am figuring out why the BFM despise us. And in no uncertain terms, I know this to be true, that she's an adversary that despises me. Right? Are there good ones out there? Yes, I believe that, honestly. But I believe for the most part, most are not. So why risk going through all of that to wind up with a BTN When most of them, it isn't that, I'm going to tell you what it is. It is that these women feel honored to be the worst that they can be to an Afro man. And you hear them talk, oh yeah, oh, y'all want to see the video I'm going to put up tonight around midnight. Oh yeah, my stuff is the bomb and stuff. Oh, he better do this, that, and the other. I ain't doing nothing for him. I don't have to do nothing for him. He know That's how they talk. Blatant disrespect. Now, here's the thing. Most brothers would not put up with that. But they're not going to be bothered with most brothers. They are looking for the weak. Why? Because they are still under contract from the time of chattel slavery. They just don't realize that that's what all the instructions that they've been getting from the government, from Hollywood and stuff like that, was always to keep the Afro man in check. Look at Antonio Brown, right? Look at all these football players getting into legal hot water because they cannot think like men. They cannot think enough like men to protect themselves from these women. All right? And keep in mind, before these females left, oh yeah, some white, no, it was a black woman. And we don't even know how that went. It probably went like, okay, he didn't want to be bothered with her anymore. And so, in this era, if you do anything with any woman and you got money, she could Me Too you. Period. But we don't know. But what I do know is a lot of these dudes in these sports arenas do not think like men. Okay? So you move on up. You got these hip hop artists that been calling it out. That's why they were derogatory towards females. But people did not understand it. And they knew what was going on because they knew who their mama was. So when they was using the B's and H's and stuff like that, understand this. They understood who their mama was. It was us that had a problem. Oh, why are you going to call our women that? Because the hip hop artists was like, wait a minute, that ain't y'all's women. We know because we out here in the streets doing all this stuff, and the only people they want to mess with is us, the thugs. They understood this. You see what I mean? They understood this. It was just the rest of the Afro male population didn't understand it. And people were like, oh, this is wrong. This is wrong. And so the hypocrisy is so thick in all of this. Right? But again, it's the contract. They get to do what they want to do. But they feel lost when they have no more control over the good Afro man. Or any Afro man that gets money. Period. And they are right. When you see a flood of Afro men with dollars running to anybody but the BFM, yes, that is a serious problem for them. And they should take the message for what it says. That you're not preferred, not because we don't think you look good, but because we think you're dangerous to us. And everything that you're around, we can't say anything. I mean, this should be monetized, but I doubt that it will. Why? Because I'm calling stuff out. Right? All the stuff that I presented, Caucasians have presented also in books and everything. University of Wisconsin. Come on, but I'm not allowed to talk about Speak. I'm not allowed to speak the real truth of what's going on in the community from the person that's living there. Only Caucasian people that don't grow up in my community can do some interviews and talk to somebody and say what's going on and get paid and all the rest of that. All right. And so this is the problem. This is the problem. And always, these women want to forget, right? These women always want to forget that they started all this, that they were never for us, that we have them to thank. On this, I will say this as I get ready to close this out. We literally have the BFM to thank for allowing us to have access to all these options we've always had. Here's the thing. We've always had these options. We just were not allowed to have access to them. All right, and we're talking a short time ago. We ain't talking about way back in the olden days. We're talking about in the 50s. Understand this. We're talking about in the 50s. All right, now I want y'all to understand this. Every movement that happened where we got a little rights happened because some Caucasian man wanted to do what he wanted to do and was restricted by the laws. So he got them changed. Why? Because they're the ones that wrote the laws in the first place. Understand this, right? Understand that we were murdered, lynched, and all the rest of this stuff. Understand that. All right. Also understand that in this day and age, we got people like YouTube that determines whether or not we make money or not. We got the BFM that determines how long we work at a job that she knows where we work, because she could just go there and just destroy it. We got the BFM that can extort more money by just taking, going out to the system, have the system take it. The child won't even know that we're getting the money. Why? Because it don't go to the child. All right? We are living in a very wicked country where, for right now, again, Caucasian men are starting to feel the heat that we felt for the past 400 years. And only they're getting a fraction of it. And they don't like the little bit that they're getting. And all they're doing is changing their favorite heroes to females, which I'm against that too. But see, they don't know how insidious this country and the BFM, BAW, have been to the Afro man. I keep telling you that you will know a contrite female if she comes up to you and she totally 100%, she totally, I don't even know where the mic is on my computer, to tell you the truth. I'm going to have to look it up. It has to be a woman that will come to you and say, I will follow your lead. You will be the ruler of my life. But these BFMs are not doing that. And they won't do it. Because the bad part is, They want to be us. Why? Because Azazel, all the way up to, as you saw the Willie Lynch letter, told them, you don't need no man. You're just as strong as the man. Until they roll up to a man and the man puts some man strength on them. All right. And then they raise their boys to be malnourished, bony, and weak. Why? So that they can handle them physically. Understand this. All right. And they will only talk to the weak. These women don't want a strong man. If you look at most of the stuff where there is some goings on, you will find that most of these females that you see manhandling somebody, the dude built like a toothpick. All right. And so this is why a lot of brothers are leaving the country or leaving the BFem alone. We're tired. We're like, no mas, no more. All right. The history is this. They owned us, despised us. They were vain and brainwashed us. Then we move up. They still was producing with the Caucasian men to the point where North Carolina had to make a law and institute the marriage license in 1924. All right. So in 1924, there's that marriage license where you need the permission from the state. And that sucker took off like wildfire that all the states started doing it. Why? Because you had to pay money to get one. And it gave them control over and say over who can get together. All right. That's 1924. Then you move up to the Loving versus Virginia, 1958. The Caucasian man like, I want to do what I want to do. So he challenged the court and won. Thereby opening the door for the Afro man too. So long as he didn't do it in the deep South. All right. And then you have the awakening that came by way of social media and the internet, where brothers are allowed to study. I'm able to do videos and show you firsthand what's been going on throughout our history. And the sad part is we're finding out almost together. I might be a couple of years ahead of most of y'all in this information. All right. But we're finding out all of this stuff now as to how we've been treated. Not only our life, but our history by these BAWs. And they wonder why a dude don't want them anymore. And instead, he would rather have somebody that is feminine. People are tired of having somebody that they need to fight every day. And they want feminine. Right? That's what I want. Feminine. I don't even care about the color. I just want feminine. And preferably from another country. Because I feel safer that way. Like I said, I know there are some good people here. But I know that they want weakness over strength. And if you're strong, they're going to try to tear you down. Tell you what you ain't going to do, what you need to do. They won't lend a helping hand. They will tear you down. And we tired. So, on that note, I would like to thank y'all all for showing up. Let me break this down. Don't forget to donate to my channel. My PayPal me link is in the description box. And that Cash App, I don't know how to work it. but the guys that asked me to put it up, y'all know how to work it. I know how to send it to the bank, or however. I know how to do that part of it. My sister showed me that. So that's for the guys that, know what they're doing with that, right? So I'm heading back out, writing these names on these balls again, and got a lot of stuff to take over there this time. So 4 bags. So I'm going to get hit hard going through the airport. All right, so basically, I'm out. And if you haven't seen the channel for new videos that I have up today, check them out. All right, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. All right, and even before you donate, make sure you take care of yourself and family first. All right, but if you have any extra to give, bruh need help, got kind of stuff, but bruh need a little more help, and it'll be appreciated. All right, so with that said, people, I'm out, and thank you for walking with me down this path.